Today we're going to be talking about situation problems involving systems. I'm going to work example number 1, or the word problem, and you guys are going to work 2 through 4 in class. So let's get started. It says the Band Booster Club is selling coffee and hot chocolate at the soccer games. Both drinks are sold in the same paper cup. They sold $272.25 worth of hot chocolate, or worth of hot drinks, and used a total of 275 cups at the last game. If hot chocolate sells for $1.25 and coffee sells for 75 cents, how many of each type of hot drinks did they sell? So before we can get started, we have to come up with 2 equations. Before I can come up with the equations, I need to have 2 variables on what I am talking about. So what 2 things am I talking about? You should have said we're talking about coffee and hot chocolate. So you can pick any variable for these 2 items. I'm going to choose for C is going to be your coffee, and I'm going to use H for hot chocolate. Okay, it says I sold $272.25, so that's how much money I'm going to make. And it also tells me that my hot chocolate sells for $1.25, coffee sells for 75 cents, and the other total it talks about is that I sold 275 cups. Okay, so we're going to use this information to come up with 2 equations. Remember what I told you first. What always goes on the right-hand side of my 2 equations? That's right, the totals. So I have 2 totals. I have $272.25, and then I also have 275 total cups. Okay, so using my variables, we're going to come up with an equation. So how much was hot chocolate sold for? $1.25. So I should have $1.25 H plus how much was coffee sold for? 75 cents C is equal to $272.25. Now my last equation, it talks about the amount. You guys will see these questions a lot. I've already used all my dollar amounts, okay, but now I'm talking about the total amount of physical cups that I sold. So for my second equation, I'm going to take the amount of hot chocolate cups plus the amount of coffee cups to give me 275. Okay, so here are my 2 equations. Now what I'm going to show you, again, is what we learned the other day, is how to plug these equations into the matrix. So let's look at our calculator. Okay, following the steps for the matrix, I should hit second, x to the negative 1, and get to my matrix. I go over to edit. Now what type of equation is this going to be, a 3 by 4 or 2 by 3? You should have said 2 by 3 because I had 2 equations and I have 2 variables plus my answer. So I need you to go ahead and change the matrix to a 2 by 3. Now again, we use our coefficients to come up with the variables, or excuse me, with the numbers inside my matrix. So again, we already have both equations in standard form, so we can go ahead and just plug it into the matrix. So I should have 1.25. I should have 0.75. I should have 272.25. And then what about the next equation? If I don't have any numbers in front of my variables, what number is going to go there? That's right, we're going to have a 1. So I should have 1, 1, and 275. Now once we have all the coefficients entered in, the next step was to hit second mode. Remember, that was going to save all my information. So I go back to the matrix. Now I go to math. And remember, I scroll down to option B for RREF. I hit enter. I go back to the matrix, and we're talking about matrix A. I close my parentheses, and I hit enter. Now, I should have on my calculator 10132, 143. So how are we going to read this? What we should have is my first variable in the first equation was H. So for my hot chocolate, I should have 132. And for my coffee, I should have 143. And there's my answer. Okay, now what you're going to work on is 2 through 4. Guys, once you come up with the equations, we should be able to plug it all into the matrix. I want you to get practice with the matrix. If you do not have a calculator at home, then you can work it using substitution, elimination, or graphing. But again, I do want you to get practice on using the matrix. So use this example to answer 2 through 4. Again, we will do it in class, and make sure that you're working on your take-home test.